continue.
Well, I tell you what, I hope all the fans here at Ibrox tonight enjoy what they're seeing. The players are on the pitch. Rangers versus Annan Athletic. Thomas Duncan is limbering up, or he has limbered up, so I'll hand you over now to our match commentator for the evening, Thomas Duncan.
Thank you, David. It is one of the best weekends in the Scottish football calendar, is Scottish Cup fourth rounds, where teams from all across the country in the divisions collide, none more so than tonight. League Two Annan getting a shot at one of the biggest clubs in the country. They were here 3 years ago and lost 3-0 on that occasion, blown away in the first half. Can they keep it tighter this time around and give Rangers a game, and perhaps exploit the fact that Rangers, though improving, have fielded a team with 9 changes, and will that lead to a bit of disruption in momentum? We shall see, and no question who the heavy favourites are here at Ibrox tonight, which is not full but still pretty packed on this Friday night. And the players fanning out, getting ready for action. Rangers parading their 3 signings, as the guys were saying. Tour Romans from Westerlo, he's a couple of weeks away from being ready due to a little knock. Toki Chukwueze is on the bench tonight, and of course the deal just confirmed for Andreas Skov-Olsen. A Danish international will be introduced into the squad in the coming weeks. A big signing, a statement signing from Rangers. I'll run you through the teams for tonight though. Liam Kelly makes just his second appearance in the season. In goal for Rangers, back 4 in front of him is Max Aarons, Nasser Giga, Clinton Nsiala and Jayden Magoma, one of only 2. Magoma to keep his place from the win at Pittodrie. Rodwell and Dowell, a surprise midfield too, with Gassama and Curtis out wide and Danilo supporting Miovski. As for Annan, they have had a fruitful January window. They've brought in 5 or 6 players already in the first couple of weeks, as Willie Gibson, the player manager, tries to strengthen his squad for the run in League Two. They've got Charlie Albinson in the goal, the former Ayr United keeper. Back 3 of Scott Hooper, Keith Watson, the Scottish Cup winner with Dundee United, and Tommy Muir. Ryan Muir, Max Coulsby on the flanks. Player manager Willie Gibson alongside Josh Dixon in midfield, with Charlie Maxwell, Paul Smith, also formerly of Ayr United, and Aidan Smith, the striker, up front. And they've got experience on the bench, as I mentioned as well, with Paul McGowan, League Cup winner with St Mirren, and over 300 appearances for Dundee. So they do have players in their ranks who have played here before and played at the top level in Scotland. Players just getting ready now, and I think Annan decided to switch sides and going to attack the Broomlin end, or rather defend the Copland Road end, as it may well be, as referee Duncan Nicholson steps back and gets ready to blow the whistle on the first action of the Scottish Cup fourth round. So much to come on Saturday and Sunday, 2 games on Sunday, loads tomorrow, with things getting underway with Dunfermline Athletic against Hibs at East End Park at 12:30 live on BBC Telly. And of course Sports Sound will be across every single game across the course of the weekend, starting tonight all the way to Auchinleck Talbot's game against Celtic at 5:30 on Sunday. And there is a bit of a delay here for some reason. The players are looking across. I don't know if there's perhaps an issue with VAR that is trying to be resolved at the moment, because
there's always an issue with VAR.
Well,
put it in the bin. Yeah, correct.
Well, some clubs have chosen to do just that this weekend. The ones who have had the option, the Premiership grounds, none of them have taken it up. Of course, if it's at a Premiership ground and it's live on the telly, as tonight is, you have to have VAR. So it is in operation tonight. It's Duncan Williamson who is in the VAR booth, and it was Nasser Giga has just appeared. Was he
away in to get his gloves?
Yeah, his gloves, I think so. Surely Annan should be just allowed to kick off without him.
I can't see anything.
I tell you something, the first thing I'd be saying is put it right on his head.
Yeah.
And get right in about him if that's...
Apologies to VAR there, as it's nothing to do with that. Nasser Giga saunters onto the pitch eventually, and Rangers get things underway, and Joe Rodwell gives it to Max Aarons, and we'll be interested to see how Rodwell and a few others perform. His last appearance for Rangers was right at the start of the Danny Rule reign in the League Cup semi-final defeat by Celtic. So it's interesting whether this is just that come in and do a job and then you're out again. He was coming back from an injury, but certainly not been part of the plans recently, as it goes wide to Curtis on the left hand side, then Magoma, and squeezes it back now to Nsiala, and square for Giga, and Max Aarons controls short of halfway Takes it across into opposition half and floats it forward for Gassama, lets it bounce, it's running towards the byline, and Kilsby goes across, as does Hooper, and it's forced out, and the flag has actually gone up for offside, I think, against Gassama. No, it's gone out. So Annan with a free kick, and comfortable opening minute for the League Two side here.
I'm always amazed, you know, that players, you know, sometimes coming off the bench, they've not got their tops with them, they've not got shin guards on. There's Deja, you know, ready to start the game, and obviously he's got gloves, he's warmed up in them, you know what you're doing when you get out. So is he switched on enough? So sometimes, I know I'm maybe just being a little bit picky, but you know, are you switched on? Are you taking this game a wee bit lightly? Whoa.
Strike from distance over the top, and that was a very decent effort from Tommy Muir, the centre back who can play striker, and he looks like he's playing up there tonight for Annan. He belted that.
Well, there's your answer. As it comes down, it's a slack header, and kind of snapshot from 25 yards there, and you've seen them just kind of getting into the middle of the goal, chipping the sort of goalkeeper. I mean, Annan will be, if I'm in the Annan changing room, I'm looking at that saying, let's get in about him. Can we get in about Rodwell and Dowell, who haven't played a lot of games? As Derek said, they look to be going out the club. Can we get in about them and see how they fancy it? Do they like it? But a positive start there from Annan.
I tell you what, it sits up beautifully, you know, and it's just there to be hit, you know, and if you can just get a little bit more dip on it, you know, because I was looking at Kelly's position, he was right on the 6-yard box, you know, and if that dip comes, you know, that kind of nestled into the back of the net.
And it's played over to this near side to Aidan Smith, controls it on the thigh, no one near him. Eventually Gassama saunters over, he cuts inside him with ease. Smith, little reverse round the side of the box for Paul Smith to chase, and then Giga has to play it out for a corner.
Giga again, I mean, I don't even think he can't let that ball inside his 18-yard box on his blind side, just let that go past him there. They managed to scamper it out there for a corner kick, but slack again from Rangers.
Very sloppy start from Rangers. Dream start for Annan Athletics, settled nicely into this game. Corner kick on this near side, which is going to be taken by the player manager Willie Gibson. Right on top of the goalkeeper Liam Kelly, who gets lost in a crowd of bodies. It's headed back across. Keith Watson headed towards the target, and it's away by Danilo to the edge of the area. Back out to Gibson on this near side. Gibson onto the right foot, shimmies, and then is delaying the cross, and then he's trying to take on Aarons, who gets a foot in and takes it off him, and that's good defending from Max Aarons. And he's driving forward now, the Rangers right back, gives it to Gassama, and then he plays it, trying to give it back to Aarons, and Aidan Smith steps in and knocks it out for a throw-in.
A great start, isn't it, from Annan? You know, very positive. We've spoken about those changes for Rangers. They look really unsure of themselves at the back. You know, a few little mistakes. Communication doesn't look to be there as well. And they sense it, Annan. You know, and they've had a couple of opportunities already. So it's a warning for Rangers.
Here's Aarons. Takes it away from Josh Dixon. Good pace from Aarons up to the halfway line. He's over the halfway line. Gives it to Danilo now in the little pocket of space. And he's got Magoma on his left. He finds Magoma with a pass. Magoma touches it away from Maxwell. He's on the far side. Gets towards the corner flag and hooks across into the edge of the box. But it's behind his teammates, and it's won by Dixon. And he plays it up the line for Muir to chase. Good touch from the striker. I said that. I thought he'd managed to touch it away from the defender. He's touched it straight out on the far side, and Rangers take the throw in quickly. 4.5 minutes played at Ibrox, goalless, but Rangers have made a rather inauspicious start. Slack in the defensive area certainly as well. Here's Rodwell along the grass to Gassama, first time to Dowell. Dowell back the way and then into the centre circle with a pass, finds Jaden Magoma. Magoma out to Nsiala, and then Curtis, who's playing left wing for Rangers, into Magoma. Rangers not going forward quickly. It's patient stuff as we hit 5 minutes, still no goals. Aarons drives inside the pitch in the midfield position and offloads to Magoma. Now Curtis, who's taken it in a pretty deep position. Now Rodwell, he's asking for movement, sprays it over to Curtis. Curtis onto the right foot, crosses from deep towards Miofsky, flicked header by the Rangers striker, and it's gathered by Albinson. It was going well off target anyway.
I think that's where Annan have to be comfortable sort of doing that, where Rangers have 10, 12, 15 passes there, 50 yards from Annan's goal, and being comfortable keeping that shape. because what Rangers are doing is they're looking for someone to come out that shape and then they can exploit it, and Annan have to stay true to that. Even at 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, 25 minutes in, is understanding that staying in that shape is the reason why they'll get any chance of getting success out of the game.
It's a free kick to Annan, just a couple of yards over the halfway line. So the League Two sides really making a positive start here at Ibrox. Goalless after 6 minutes. Free kick towards the left hand side of the box. Smith wins the header, and it goes up for Paul Smith, taken off him by Aarons, who knocks it forward. Aarons still on the ball and gives it to Danilo, and then he's tripped by Gibson, who got a touch on the ball, as Smith then plays it into the channel for Muir to chase. Liam Kelly has allowed it to come all the way through, but didn't go into the box, and he had to get rid of it with the right foot. It's won by Danilo now with Rodwell. Rodwell scans and then is away from Dixon, and then plays it with the right foot over to Magoma, the left back, who carries it over halfway. Rangers on a run of 5 straight wins since losing to Hearts at Tynecastle. They've kept 3 clean sheets in that time. Aarons forwards, looks in front of him. Danilo offers, but it goes to Dowell in the centre circle. Dowell carries forward, squeezes the pass to Curtis, who's in an inside position, given away though, and now a break into midfield, but it's with Aarons, who scoops the pass over to Magoma on the far side. Goalless at Ibrox in this Scottish Cup 4th round tie. Rodwell goes round one and takes it forward, and then he plays it forward to Curtis, who keeps it in, and then he hoists the cross into the box. Alderson gathers, and it remains 0-0.
Yeah, it's good play from Rangers. Rodwell just dancing past a couple of players there. It's a lovely ball to Curtis. You know, he's got to get the byline, and it's, you know, whips it in there. You just think of, you know, Miovski, it's in the air, you know, you've got to go and attack that a little bit more aggressively than he did, but certainly better play from Rangers.
Here's Aarons, fires the pass forward looking for Gassama, intercepted by Aidan Smith, and then he's touched it away from Kieran Dowell. Pass to Maxwell in his own half, and then to Scott Hooper. Hooper out to the far side, and it's played up the line for Muir to chase, but Clinton Intiala will get there, and then he lashes it into the Sandy Jordan stands.
And that'll be Muir's job the full night. It'll just be chasing balls into channels, and that's exactly what Annan want, is that ball going down the channel there. It goes out, they get a throw in 25 yards, 30 yards from the Rangers goal. They can get themselves up the pitch, they can take a breather, and that's what they need to try and do the full night.
Throw in from Annan down the line, controlled by Muir. Back to Ryan Muir. Here is Muir down the right hand side. Insiala ushers it out for a goal kick to Rangers. Annan in 7th place in League Two, and the referee calls Liam Kelly back, because that was moving the ball when he tried to play the goal kick quickly.
That little passage of play before that, Insiala, sorry, it's a little bit panicky, hasn't it? You know, you just think, you know, take a touch, play a pass, and he just thumps it out the park, and it just encourages Annan. You know, they get a throw, you know, well into the Rangers half, and it's a pity they didn't make more of it.
Gassama controls with the chest, comes inside, his pass to Dowell's intercepted by Willie Gibson, carries it down this near side over the halfway line, tries to find Dixon, and then it's a slip by Giga. Just doesn't look interested, the Rangers centre back, and now Annan tried to come forward. It hits off a Rangers player, and Dixon is muscling in on Giga, who ends up ushering it out for a throw in, but well, very slack.
Yeah, it's like body language as well. You know, you look at him, and I just touched on it, you know, forgetting his gloves, you know, start of the game, you know, letting a ball roll past him in the box. You know, you don't do that, you don't allow that, you know, so just, yeah, slack. Sometimes that gives the opposition a little bit of hope.
And here comes the ball from Kilsby, Insiala's header to the edge of the box, and then it's hit by Paul Smith from distance, deflects of a Rangers player, and then Aaron's foot in, but Annan have it again. Kilsby gives it to Aidan Smith playing off this near side, and he's brushed off Miovski, then gives it to Dixon, and now Kilsby's on the overlap, chance for a cross here, whipped in to the edge of the 6-yard box, not dealt with, eventually hooked away, and it's Annan asking the questions here at Ibrox, the League Two side, controlled by Aidan Smith, back to Willie Gibson, the player manager, and then they work it back to Keith Watson. Watson spins one, and that's a good one for Kilsby, and then it just comes off his shoulder. That looked like it had gone out of play, but the officials disagree, and Kilsby still going, and eventually it is Gassama has to come back and bail out his defenders and wins the free kick, but very unconvincing stuff.
I tell you what, it's brilliant play from Annan. You know, Smith then Kilsby down this left-hand side. It's a wicked ball, isn't it? You know, and Rangers, you know, just looking all over the ship, you know, at the back. You know, but you speak of that, you know, the communication. You know, these players have played with each other a hell of a lot, and you can see that already, and just Annan growing in confidence.
Here's Joe Rodwell.
The thing is, we've all been there as sort of players that are maybe playing against a team that's a couple of leagues below you, and it is difficult to get yourself going, but you have to, because I can guarantee you in that changing room before the Rangers players come out, you know it's going to go one way or the other. You're going to play really well and have a good night, or the way it started just now, and it can turn into a horrible night.
Giga to Gassama, headed forwards towards Miovski, and then Danilo gets a touch. Dowell breaks onto the edge of the box. Here's Miovski, gets onto that left foot, and he scores! And they only need half a chance, and Rangers, despite a shaky start, bang, quick as you like, Bojan Miovski flashes a left foot shot beyond Albinson, and it is Rangers 1, Annan Athletic 0.
And boy, did they need that, because he just says it there. They have been unconvincing. It's probably the first time they work the ball into the box, and Miovski, you know, it's at 2-3 touches, just works a little half yard for himself and then just whips it. You know, I think the keeper might think it's going the right hand side, but just reverses it. You know, I don't know, could the keeper have done a little bit better? Maybe, but it's all about getting the shot and target, and it goes into the back of the net. So Miovski will be delighted that he's got off to a good start, but Rangers certainly at the back. You know, they've gave up 2 or 3 chances already, so they needed that.
6th goal of the season for Bojan Miovski, but it's been checked for offside. Yeah, the Annan players appealed for it immediately, but it was given on the pitch. So as it stands, it's Rangers 1, Annan 0, but it's now going to be looked at by Duncan Williamson and Greg Aitken in the VAR room.
I don't know if they thought Dowell was maybe ahead of the play there, I think, in the initial phase of play. But again, it's good. It's a good finish from Miovski. Charlie Albison should probably do better. He is pretty much centre of the goal, but Miovski just showing there that he's a clinical finisher. He done it down at Kilmarnock in one of the games not that long ago as well, and another good finish from him.
Yeah, the goal stands, and that's a real blow for Annan Athletic, who'd started the opening 12 minutes really brightly, fairly comfortable at the back and looking a threat at times going forward, but just shows you have to be switched on at every moment, because it was just a bit sloppy at the back, and it broke for Miovski and he just swept it home. It was very much within Albinson's reach. I don't know if he was unsighted or was caught out with the early strike, but probably could have done better. But Smith flicks it on for Annan, and Muir goes across, looks at the referee as he hits the turf. Giga gets on with it, gives it to Liam Kelly, and now maybe a few of the nerves round Ibrox would have settled. It was early days, right enough, but the start, especially as Derek has been describing at the back defensively, was none too convincing, but they have the advantage thanks to Miovski. Here's Danilo.
You would now hope the Rangers players would settle into a rhythm and into a game now where they would start dominating the ball, start moving the ball a bit quicker, and again then it becomes vitally important that Annan don't lose that sort of shape and don't get sort of caught up in the fact that they're 1-0 down. If this game stays at 1-0 until the 80th minute, then they're still in it.
And I probably think Willie Gibson's prepared them for this. You know, if you do lose an early goal, do not panic. Keep your shape. Keep playing away, and keep at it, because they've started this game ever so well. But that's why Miovski's. You know, that's why you pay the big bucks, because that's quality talks, and then doesn't it? One chance, bang, it's into the back of net. You look at Annan, the 2 or 3 kind of little half chances, didn't take them.
Yeah, that's the difference. Bojan Miovski, he was on a good little run as well for Rangers before he picked up an injury. He had 3 and 3 and then was injured, and then struggled to get back into the team as the rise of Yusuf Chermiti started. That was 5 without a goal for Miovski, but ended that little mini drought as Curtis comes down the left hand side, shifts it onto the right foot, but he's doubled up on, goes back to Magoma, who wriggles out of a challenge, offloads it to Rodwell, and then out to the far sides. And it's with Curtis and then he gets onto the left foot, low cross, turned away by Gibson, up to Tommy Muir. A good hold-up play from the big striker, and he carries forward and offloads it to Dixon. Dixon facing his own goal and goes to Ryan Muir, but it's remarkable how they use Tommy Muir as a centre-back and a striker pretty consistently, playing central striker tonight. And he did have that chance in the opening minute or so where it sat up for him about 25 yards out, and he just lashed it over the top, not a million miles away, but couldn't keep it down.
That's kind of a dying art, that, isn't it, where you get a centre-half that can play up front. I remember Chris Sutton done it for a while with Celtic and things like that as well. So
Derek Johnson here at Rangers, that's going back a long way right enough, but Derek Johnson was very accomplished, you know, he was a top centre forward, but could slot in there at the back, centre half.
And you have to be a half decent player to be able to do both their positions.
It's out to Finlay Curtis now as Rangers come forward, left hand side of the box, onto his right foot, deflected. Annan don't deal with it. It's Gassama, and then it's out to Aarons, away from Smith, but he scurries after Max Aarons, turns back inside, gives it to Gassama. Very inside the pitch. Rangers quite narrow at the moment as Gassama is well in from the touchline, puts it in front of Dowell, but defender Gillsby can step across and lash it out for a throw-in on this near side. Rangers 1, Annan 0 after 17 minutes at Ibrox in the Scottish Cup 4th round, live on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
And Gassama's been poor for me so far. He's gave the ball away 2 or 3 times, and you're talking about body lines, he's not quite been at it, looks as if he couldn't care less, at the moment. But again, it was just a simple pass here down the right hand side, just feed it in, and he's so slack, it's unbelievable.
Giga into Danilo, first time to Dowell, and it was nice play, but Dowell's given it away to Muir, and then he comes forwards inside and goes back outside with a pass, and it's returned to Scott Hooper, playing on the right of the back three into the centre of the back three. Keith Watson now at the other side to Killsby, and then it's a good challenge from Dowell on Dixon, and now Rangers can break. Dowell's got options to his right, finds Gassama, he's right hand side of the box, low cross towards the penalty spot, sliding challenge from Watson. Now it's Aarons going across the box, good challenge from Paul Smith, who is then fouled by Max Aarons. Free kick to Annan.
Again, it's slack from Rangers. They win the ball back really well, and then it's maybe an extra touch too many, and then Aarons is coming inside, and can he just pop it off early? I mean, if I was obviously Rangers, I'd be saying to Gassama, just go and stand on the touchline, get the ball out to him. It's so congested in the middle of that pitch, and again, it's this new age thing where they all want to come inside. Rangers, for me, especially obviously Miovski up front, get it wide, get it in the box, because you know he's going to finish. But all this coming inside, that's playing into Annan's hands.
Flicked on by Muir, and then again for Aidan Smith, and suddenly Annan are in the Rangers box. The cross is too high and wide and goes behind the Rangers goal. But another little sniff, and it's just a straight ball, 2 headers won, and they're up right in the Rangers final third, Derek.
Yeah, they look dangerous when they go forward. They're posing more of a danger than I thought they would. I don't know, was that down to the slackness, the 2 Rangers centre backs? Probably, but they've been good value for money. Yeah, they're a goal behind at the moment. I just think they were guilty of overplaying a little bit there a little bit earlier. I think it was the boy Watson just trying to feed the ball into the middle of the park. I think it was to Dixon. It wasn't on. So, but that tells you they've came here in a confident mode. And they fancy giving as good as they can get. Gassama
now towards the corner flag on this near side, and he gives it to Dowell, gets the return pass, Shady Gassama, then Aarons has Rodwell in front of him, but turns and gives it to Gassama on this near touchline. Dowell back to Gassama into Danilo, and then tried to make the run, but he runs into an Annan player, and then it's scrappiness round the edge of the box. Killsby emerges with the ball and plays it off Danilo, and it's actually come back off Killsby. That's a Rangers throw-in, taken quickly by Aarons to Gassama. Gassama given away, and Aidan Smith clears it up the line, headed out by Gigor's, kept in by Gassama as Dowell chests it down. He's not got much support. Pass to Rodwell, good touch from Joe Rodwell, and then Danilo, and then Dowell on the edge of the area. Dowell across to Magoma over to the left hand side now, and Curtis returns it to Magoma, cuts it back, and it's taken a deflection behind for a Rangers corner. 1-0 to the home side after 20 minutes at Ibrox.
They look miles better, Rangers, down the left-hand side than what they do down the right-hand side. As Derek's saying there, Gassama, again, he sort of loses the ball and his reaction's terrible, just sort of stands and shrugs his shoulders. But on the other side there, more intent, trying to get to the byline, trying to get a cross in the box. Curtis, and it's so much better.
Yeah, you can see there's a hunger there, you know, from Curtis, a desire, you know, he wants to prove that he's good enough to be on this side. On the other side, Gassama, just going through the motions.
Rodwell's corner right on top of the goalkeeper Albinson, good punch, and then hooked away by Maxwell. Rangers, of course, only bettered by Hearts and set-piece goals in the Premiership this season, and they're catching them up very much so since Scott Fry, the specialist set-piece coach, was introduced not long after Danny Röhl took charge at Rangers. And it's been one of their specialities in recent times, because they don't always look a massive threat from open play. And certainly an area of the game that Danny Röhl is hoping to build on, and certainly the signing of Scott Olsen will hopefully add to that from a Rangers point of view, as Giga controls on halfway. Annan doing okay since the goal they conceded 9 minutes ago, not been under too much pressure. Albinson just had to really punch a corner, collect a cross, no real save to make, as Curtis is now on this near side and Gassama's over on the left. And to be fair, he always looks more interested and better off the left hand side, so we'll see if this sparks him to life. Here comes Nsiala, gives it to Magoma. Giga controls on halfway, and Rodwell looks up, gives it to Dowell, back to Rodwell in the centre circle, and Magoma, fairly slow build up from Rangers at the moment, but then it's Nsiala and it's a poor pass picked off by Annan, who then drive forward. It's Ryan Muir, really good run from the wing back, still going, tries to go on the outside. Nsiala, and he's managed to do it, ghosted away from it, and it's a really dangerous cross which Nasser Giga swipes at and hooks away, but that could have gone anywhere. Now Kilsby's going to deliver deep to the back post, header across from Dixon. Paul Smith's in there, Liam Kelly gets there first, and has he kept that in? He has. Danger over from Rangers point of view, and they get on with it quickly. Danilo trying to launch a counter, he gives it away, good challenge from Gibson. Rodwell has it, and Aarons now. Dearie me, Nasser Giga's body position there was strange.
Giga's going to give Danny Röhl nightmares, I'm telling you. That is great play from Annan, great cross in, but I mean, this is your central defender, just clear the ball.
The two of them are all over the place, you know, but I keep saying body language, they're so languid, it's lazy looking, you know, and as I say, that just
it spreads through the team, that, doesn't it?
It does, but I tell you what, but it's brilliant play down, but it was so Nsiala, it just, who was it, the boy, the right back?
Ryan
Muir just flies past him. It's a brilliant ball, and again, you know, there's no composure, he just thrashes at the ball. That could have quite easily have ended up in the back of the net, the Rangers net.
Curtis made a run there in behind, couldn't quite get onto it. Flag stayed down, Albinson rolls it out to Aidan Smith and goes back to Kilsby, who plays it long, looking for Muir. Is battling with Giga, wins the header, Giga, but it's only as far as Smith. Dowell gets back, Maxwell puts a challenge in, breaks for Danilo. Now Miovski, the goal scorer, first time pass for Curtis down the right hand side. That a bit slow to react there, Finlay Curtis, and Kilsby gets in front and knocks it back to the goalkeeper Albinson. Rangers 1, Annan Athletic 0 in the Scottish Cup 4th round, live on Sportsline. Bojan Miovski's goal after 12 minutes, the difference between the sides. It's been fairly even outside of that in terms of some of the play. Annan have been pretty impressive, and again here as Dixon turns Aarons and Dowell, and then he crosses early, but there's no one in the box, and Maxwell will scamper across to try and keep this in, but he's not able to. That'll be a Rangers throw in on the far side.
Yeah, they've been excellent, Annan, haven't they? You know, they're thinking coming here tonight they might be starved of the ball, but I don't know the stats, but when they get forward, you know, they're posing a threat. Is that down to the lack of understanding at the back from Rangers? Is it the good play from Annan? I like to go with Annan because I tell you what, I'm enjoying watching them. Strangely enough, they fancy it. They're not overawed. Not at the game for 2 weeks. The guys have been probably working today. Also, have they trained much over the last 2 weeks as well because of the weather? So
no,
I tell you what, they're giving a great account of themselves so far.
I think they've had 2 training sessions, proper training, what you would describe as a proper training session. Willie Gibson said I think they managed to get on the pitch and do some running and stuff during the weather, but certainly not an intense training session. I think they had one this week before the game, and then obviously maybe Thursday night was a bit lighter, but here we come with Ojamiowski, corner of the box, drills in the cross, and it's deflected round the post for a corner to Rangers by Keith Watson.
Good play from Miowski. I think Miowski and Curtis and Bentley Curtis are the two that really look as if they're trying to impress, they're trying to do something, they're trying to be positive. And good play from Miowski there, finds himself a bit wider and tries to put an early ball in the box and manages to get the corner.
26 minutes played, Rangers 1, Annan 0, a Rangers corner on the far side, which Joe Rodwell is ready to take. Here he comes, right-footed in swinger, right into the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away by Smith, and Magoma will go after it. Annan had a really tough start to the season. They were thrashed, as we mentioned, 8-2 by St Mirren in the League Cup group stages, conceded 6 against Ayr in Arbroath as well, and were really toiling with injuries and numbers at the start of the season, but they've come onto a game in the second half of the season. They're 7th in League One and improving, and they've added quite a few bodies in the January window, having been relegated from League One via the playoffs last season, having escaped from the 4th tier for the first time a couple of seasons ago. Managed to stay in League One for a season and then dropped through the trap door once more last term. And
I would take him off, honestly. I mean, I know Danny Rowe's looking at the 4th official there as if Sam has tried to obviously take a little flick down the line, and the Annan right backs went in to try and get close to him, but see his reaction after that when he gets up and he's shoving him there, and see that is just his body, as you're saying, Derek, his body language, even the way he's walking back here now, as if like he cannot be bothered being on that pitch. And I mean, see doing that playing for Rangers, honestly, you cannot get away with that. I mean, you're playing for a massive club.
Do you know, it looks as if, you know, I know that Danny Rowe, he's rested a few players. It looks as if he looks like the one that wanted to be rested, you know. Listen, look, you look round about you, it's on the TV, radio, it's a great night for football. You've got, although the stadium's not full, you know, there's a healthy crowd in here. What's not to like? Go and show what you're all about. But he's been very poor so far, and you know, and that's a decision that Danny Rowe has got to make. That's why you look at the bench. There's not a lot of youngsters there. If there is, you know, I'd be tempted to throw them on, give them an opportunity.
And we've only really got one, which is Zebedee Lawson, the player that was recruited from the Brighton youth ranks. So a few of them, to be fair, who might have been involved because of the new cooperation agreement with Wraith Rovers, and loan players have got a few on loan at Alloa. They would be cup tied, so they can't actually. Players that might have been involved, young players that they might have wanted to give game time to on a night like this, can't actually play. So
I just think the responsibility you've got when you're playing for Rangers is so big. I mean, however many thousands and thousands of fans are here, what they would give to have his opportunity.
Yeah,
but Ryan, they don't get it. That's the thing. You know, you look at Gassama and that. You know, there's a few others out there as well. You know, you might be able to point. I mean, Danilo, he's been anonymous so far in this game. You know, I know Rangers are leading 1-0, and you're trying not to be too critical, but you know, it's a pretty. I think it's a pretty poor showing so far. It's just that one opportunity. Miowski takes it, but they look threatening. Do Annan.
Annan with a throw in the final thirds. And Kilsby has it, and he's going to launch it into the box, I think. Here he comes, flings it towards the near post, won by Danilo, and then Dixon heads it back in, controlled by Muir, back to Aidan Smith, and then he's got Kilsby in support. Cross comes in, and it bounces around the penalty spot. Chance here, shot deflected up into the air, and then it's brought down by Dixon. Rangers not even winning seconds in the box, and eventually Aaron's blocks and the offside flag goes up. Free kick to Rangers, so bailed out there, but when Annan do get forward and put the ball in the box, it's just not convincing defending from Rangers.
No, and what they have to keep doing, Annan, is just keep doing the same, because see, at some stage, if Rangers keep going the way they're going, Annan will end up getting either a shot on target or a goal. I mean, I don't know how many opportunities Rangers need to just give them a little jolt here where they think.
Is it one of those where the manager, I don't know if he would do this nowadays, but needs to hook a player just to make a statement?
I would at half time. I mean, I'd be going absolutely bonkers if I was that. Probably, I know, try not to read too much into it. I'm probably get too emotional because it's
given away by Rodwell and Smith. Smith is breaking here. He doesn't have any support though, Aidan Smith, and he's crowded out by 3 blue jerseys in the end, and they take it off him. But slack in midfield from Rodwell there, and now it's back with Giga. into Dowell, heavy touch, Paul Smith's onto him, and then Dowell is trying to win it back, and he has won it back, but then he's on the ground and he's given the free kick by the referee right on the edge of his own box.
I think it was a free kick there, to be fair.
It was, but good play, good aggressive play from Annan. You know, they sense it. They know Rangers aren't at full tilt. They sense the changes. They sense as well. We're talking about the body language, the pairing at the back. And Ciala, Geisha, you know, really unsteady. When they get into wide areas, you know, they're putting in some great balls, Annan. So they're unlucky not to be in level terms. You know, that one, I mean, the player takes a touch, the edge of the 6-yard box with the chest, and he gets a shot away. You know, it's incredible. So it's poor defending from Rangers, but it's poor overall, to be honest with you.
Max Aarons controls with the studs, gives it to Giga, square for Ciala. And Ciala slides the pass into Magoma. Magoma up the line to Gassama, very deep position, holds off one, goes laterally across the pitch, offloads to Rodwell in the centre circle. Rodwell is asking for movement in front of him, fires it into Aarons, who's in midfield, but Rangers not playing with much width at the moment. Now Curtis and Magoma offer in wide areas, and Gassama comes inside the pitch, and then he finds a good pass to Dowell, and then it's out to Curtis. He's on the byline, chips it to the back post, the header from Miovski, 2-0. And Bojan Miovski has a brace inside 32 minutes, and Rangers have been a bit loose, a bit slack, a bit low tempo, have managed to double their advantage, and they have been utterly ruthless, and they're already heading for the 5th round of the Scottish Cup. Rangers 2, Annan 0. Yeah,
it's the second chance of the game, and they've took it ruthless, absolutely, but it's a little change of pace in terms of the way they move the ball, the passing. When the ball's worked into Curtis down this right hand side, you think he's going to whip it across, but no, he's better than that. You know, he just clips it to the back post. He sees Miovski there unmarked, and it's a simple header into the back of the net. So it's a good night so far for Miovski.
I think it's what we were saying there, the two players that look the most dangerous for Rangers is Finlay Curtis and Miovski. And I mean, it's good play from Curtis, because you're always taught, and when you're coached, is if you're that close to the byline that you stand it up, you don't just lash at it. He takes his time, he stands it up, and that's food and drink there from Miovski, and a great header, his second goal. But they two are the only two players that have really looked to try and get involved in the game and make something happen for Rangers so far.
That's a lovely switch out to this near side for Curtis, and he curls it in. Danilo goes up, comes off the top of his head. Magoma controls in the box. He's now got two in front of him. He's ducking and diving and going towards the far side, backwards to Rodwell with a pass. Rodwell carries forwards, an inside ball to Gassama, and then back now to Magoma. Magoma to Rodwell, and Rangers, well, cruising in terms of the score. 2-0 in front. Miovski double. Aarons, here is Miovski. Much needed goals for the North Macedonian, and it was a really good header in between the width of the posts as Rangers come forward down the left hand side. Early cross from Gassama. Curtis's header at the back stick, but it's comfortable for Albinson, the keeper, to take. 2-0 to Rangers.
And Annan just need to keep their composure now. Yep, 2 goals behind, but they've been well in this game. They've gave a great account of themselves so far, so don't get too disheartened. You know, keep at it. You know, and you just see one or two. You know, you'll see one or two of the Rangers players, you know, start to fancy it a little bit more now. You know, 2-0 up, kind of cruising. But you know, I'll be honest with you. Personally, I've been pretty disappointed with their performance, collectively and individually as well. You know, and then Ryan it says it. You know, Miovski, yes, 2 goals. He's been excellent. 2 chances. The only one that's shown a bit was Curtis.
And here he is on the byline again. Finlay Curtis. Miovski looking for the hat trick, but it's turned behind by Kilsby. As the striker was lurking on the edge of the 6-yard box, Curtis was trying to pick him out, but it goes behind for the corner.
It's good play again. I think in this shape that Annan have, the only way that Rangers are going to get joy is running in behind. And Finlay Curtis is doing that every possible time he can, and you can see they're getting joy from it.
Corner on this near sides is Kieran Dowell to take. And it is Scott Fry, the set-piece coach, who's on the edge of the technical area giving instructions on top of the goalkeeper, who punches, and Rodwell eyed up the volley, but it's taken away from him. the last second by Maxwell, who was then fouled by the Rangers midfielder. Free kick to Annan, 10 to go to the break. Rangers 2, Annan 0.
Annan just have to get in at half time, 2-0 down really. As Derek's saying, you can't allow yourself to get disheartened. You will be disheartened, and it'll be a bitter blow to them losing that second goal, especially when they've sort of crept back into the game again. But get in at half time, try and just regroup and go again in the second half. But again, they have to stay to that shape, because you can obviously see Rangers have been ruthless. It's anything round about Miovski's 2 chances, 2 goals. They need to try and nullify that.
And that's the difference, you know, when you look at Annan, you know, they've put quality balls into the box. They've had 2 or 3, and another day one of them could find the back of the net, you know, and they could be well in this game. But you know, they've just got to keep at it, keep compact at the back in the middle of the park, and you know, as they're doing it at the moment, working the ball forward.
Kilsby low ball, controlled by Aidan Smith, tries to get onto the right foot and allows Insiala to nip in, and then he's caught, and that'll be a Rangers free kick. Decent play from Annan, especially Kilsby on this near side, getting up from left centre back and putting balls into the box. They're doing their fans over in the corner there proud, because they've brought a healthy following as well. Annan got 1,000 fans up from the southwest of Scotland, and although they're 2-0 down, they'll be frustrated probably at the nature of the goals they've given away, because other than that, they've been decent.
I think they'll be disappointed. The fact the amount of good balls they've put in, but again, it just shows you the art form of scoring goals. Is the amount of balls that Annan have had get in the boxes, and it's just kind of half a yard off it. But Rangers, 2 chances, bang, 2 goals.
And here's Curtis Dowell into the area outside of the boot cross. Oh, Miovski's inches away from getting on the end of that. It's a lovely stroke of the left boot. And now here goes Gassama, turning the defender inside out, turning himself inside out, because he has to go back towards the touchline now, but wins the throw-in. 8 minutes to the break, 2-0 Rangers in the Scottish Cup. Rangers last won this competition in 2022. They beat Hearts in the final. They're desperate to get back to Hampden again after being dumped out by Queen's Park in the last 16 last season. One of the most embarrassing results in the club's history, and one that probably set Philippe Clement on his way to the sack. Wasn't just that, it was the league performances as well, but certainly damaged them probably irrevocably at that point. It's no sign of that happening tonight for Rangers though. 2 goals to the good thanks to Bojan Miovski. Thrown up the line by Annan, Maxwell controls and puts it straight up in the air. Dixon wins the header and it bounces, and again it's an Annan player who's on it, but then he lets it run forward, and Insiala carries out and he slides a nice pass forward for Curtis, who's got Kilsby in front of him. It's Finlay Curtis, takes it inside and then finds Dowell. Dowell pursued by Paul Smith, the former Ayr United player, came through the academy at Somerset. Max Aarons, Giga. Rangers certainly looked a touch sharper since the goals, and it's floated forward for Curtis to chase. It's missed by the defender. Now it's Curtis, lobs the goalkeeper, comes off the bar, then the defender, and he manages to hook it away just in the nick of time. Finlay Curtis close to making it 3-0 there.
That was brilliant from Curtis. You know, he's under pressure all the way. The ball's going away from goals. It's just about the edge of that 6-yard box to the right hand side, and it's clever. You know, he just tries to ease it over the keeper.
Here comes Rangers down the left, cut back for Danilo. He's not got much angle to work with, plays it off the defender, corner kick.
Yeah, he does it. He just looks to ease it over the keeper, and he does it ever so well. Just unfortunate it comes off the bar, and don't know who defended that there, but you know, they got rid of it. So no, I think it'd be harsh, you know, going towards half time. If Annan were to concede another one, you know, 3-0, I think it would be harsh on them, because they've not came here tonight and just said we're going to sit in, we're going to try and deny. They've had a go at Rangers and they've made it an entertaining game so far.
Yeah, they were 3-0 down the last time they were here at half time. Hollander, Roof among the scorers, and Sakala as well on top of Albinson, who punches it, and it's back out to Rothwell on the far side, and then it's lashed in. Aidan Smith heads it to the edge of the box. Miovski gives it to Magoma to Rodwell. Rodwell controls, takes it forward away from Paul Smith up to the corner of the box, offloads to Magoma down the outside, and now Rangers motoring here, and it's a decent cross, well defended by Keith Watson, and then headed away, and Rangers give away the foul in the Annan box. 5 minutes to the break. Rangers 2, Annan Athletic 0, live on Sportsound of BBC Radio Scotland. You can watch highlights of this tonight on BBC One Scotland's from, 11:35. So a late one will be available, of course, on the iPlayer as well from midnight. You can catch up with that. Sports Scene highlights on Saturday night, 10:30, and Sunday night, 10:30 as well. Both on BBC One Scotland, as well as the usual radio coverage tomorrow. Always a cracking one. Open all mics from 2 o'clock tomorrow, and the Dunfermline Athletic v Aberdeen game at 12:30. Getting things started live on BBC One as well. Aberdeen Wraith Rovers also on Sunday live on BBC Telly. The holders get their campaign underway. Here comes Finlay Curtis, corner of the area, low cross to the back post, and Miovski again was waiting for a tap in, but for Scott Hooper's brilliant sliding challenge.
Yeah, it's brilliant defending, and I tell you what, it's a wonderful ball. Dowell sets Curtis again away down the right hand side, and he sees Miovski back post, he's pulling away, and it is a wonderful ball, but Hooper just does enough, just gets the slightest of touches to put it pass for a corner kick. So again, you know, it's that speed of play in the final third from Rangers that makes all the difference.
Corner over on the far side, taken short by Rangers, sent in now, and Curtis Miovski saved, dropped to him at the back post, and Albinson got across quickly and just put his body in the way. But Miovski, you feel like the hat-trick's going to come at some point.
He's probably thought there, bang, goal, and good save there from Albinson. But again, Miovski's just deadly.
Quick corner, Aaron slides it across, deflected away. The referee wasn't happy with the taking of the corner, was outside the quadrant, I think, so it's going to be retaken.
Yeah, just need to watch, Annan. They've just switched off a little bit over the last 2 or 3 minutes, and it could cost them a third goal.
Here comes Dowell, left-footed delivery, low to the near post. Danilo, he got across and got a touch on it, but wasn't really convincing, as Dowell then miscontrols out for an Annan throw-in on this near side. Rangers, certainly since the second goal went in, have really cranked up the pressure.
And I think you can see that relationship with Curtis and Miovski as well. It's every time, that's the two, as I said, I keep saying it's the two players that look as if they want to try and create something. I think for Rangers, you look at the two wings and you look at Gassama and he's coming to the ball, you know, for me, he should be looking to go in behind Finlay Curtis every single time that Dowell gets it or Rodwell gets it. He's trying to go in behind to try and ask questions, Annan.
Here is Gassama, and he's steaming up the left-hand side. Good challenge though from Muir, and it's now into Paul Smith, who plays it up the line here, and Maxwell can carry forward, and a little chance to break for Annan. It's rolled into the channel from Muir, but it's read by Giga. Good challenge from the Burkina Faso international. He was at AFCON with his nation. He made it to the last 16 before going out, but he didn't feature. Pierre Laundry Kabori of Hearts was also there for Burkina Faso. Here's Nsiala across to Nasser Giga. Annan perhaps starting to feel the effects of the fact they've not played a game since the 27th of December, and of course the fact they're part-time, and many of them would have been working today. As Curtis crosses in to the 6-yard box where Miovski again is waiting, cleared by Annan. Dixon pressure on Curtis, back heel comes off Dixon, and then Dowell back to Rodwell. Rodwell thinks about the shot and then plays it into the box, but Miovski wasn't on the same wavelength. Cleared, and Rodwell has it again. Aarons takes it inside, gives it to Dowell. Dowell, a little pass to Aarons and a good challenge. Breaks for Curtis, is going to loft it to the back post. Danilo's up there, but flicked away by Hooper. Important header from the Annan defender. Now Maxwell has it. He's bundled over by Gassama. Free kick to Annan. 1 minute to half time. Rangers 2, Annan Athletic 0 in the Scottish Cup.
You just wonder why Finlay Curtis has not had as much game time as quite a lot of the other players, because and again he's been given an opportunity tonight. He's took it, in my opinion, already, hasn't he, Ryan? You know, you keep speaking about him and Miovski, but you can see the desire, the hunger, you know. And then you look across the left hand side, Gassama, who is a good player, but he's certainly not shown it tonight. He's not shown that hunger, that desire, you know, to go past players. So full marks to the young man.
I think Gassama and Curtis have improved since they switched sides. Been a lot sharper. Here come Annan though. Maxwell down the right hand side of the box, looking for the corner, not going to get it. Well defended by Magoma. Rangers goal kick. Liam Kelly hasn't really been tested, although Annan have had a couple of really dangerous balls into the box, which Rangers toiled to get away. So we've got 1 added minute at the end of this first half. Rangers 2 goals to the good and in control of the game. Liam Kelly knocks it to Clinton Nsiala, and they're not in any rush to get on with things, Rangers, with the 2-goal advantage and with half-time about 40 seconds away. Here is Nsiala, drives forward, heavy touch, he luckily wins the challenge, but Annan get it up to Muir now, and then Smith, and good counter here, but Gibson can't get onto it. Well defended by Magoma, and Liam Kelly plays it forward only as far as Ryan Muir, who takes it down the right hand side, crosses from deep, and it's Tommy Muir whose diving header is well off target. It would have been a spectacular header going away from goal if he managed to flick it round and get that on target.
It's another half chance for Muir. He's had a few tonight, but again, excuse me, you go back to Nsiala, you know, it's slack play. Again, I think the two of them have been extremely poor. And then you look at the other two up top.
Yeah, half-time, whistle goes, polite applause around Ibrox. Rangers firmly in control of this 4th round tie in the Scottish Cup. They started in rather lacklustre fashion, really until they got the second goal. Certainly at the back, Annan with a couple of wee half chances, but what Rangers have been is pretty ruthless. 2 chances created for Miofsky in particular, and he took them. 12 minutes, the opener, the ball broke to him in the box, got it onto that left foot, steered it on target past Albinson. That was 1-0, and then they doubled the advantage just after the half-hour mark with a header, well stood up by Curtis to the back post, and Miofsky guided it into the net, and that means Rangers are well on their way to the 5th round. Half-time at Ibrox, it is Rangers 2 and an Athletic 0.
The Scottish Cup.
Live on Sports Sound.
Scottish football lives here.
On BBC Radio Scotland.
Every mixtape tells a story. It could be big songs for when you want to play, or moments that make you pause. It can hold memories which rewind to familiar people and places, or it can be a chance to flip the tape and try something completely new. We're going to tell both sides of the story with Roddy Hart's mixtape. Side A on Saturday is the soundtrack to the big songs of your life, and Side B on Sunday is the B-sides, rarities, and a delve into the undiscovered from Scotland and around the globe.
Roddy Hart's mixtape. Side A, Saturday night from 10, and Side B on Sunday from 9 on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
You are listening to Sports Sound this fine Friday evening at the start of the Scottish Cup 4th round weekend. If there is going to be a cup shock, it's fair to say, Derek, it's not going to be at Ibrox.
No, but I think Annan have been good value for money. I've been here at Ibrox, watched a number of games over the years with lesser teams coming here and just prepared to just sit in. I think Annan have came here. They've had a go at times. They've been unlucky. They've created a few problems. I don't know whether that's down to how poor Rangers have been at the back, certainly with the 2 centre backs, or whether it was a good play of Annan. But two goals up. But the last 10 minutes. That's what you'd probably expect from Rangers. It was wave after wave of attack, but for most part, certainly the first half hour, they were pretty uninspiring. And I think the round of applause there as the players went off, I think it was polite but I think the fans are certainly looking for a little bit more from the home side, albeit they are 2 goals up at the moment.
Well, they're going to get some more entertainment at half time, because I see a drum kit has been carried onto the centre circle. But you two guys, Derek, you said at one point, Derek, I don't want to be too critical. To be fair, that's not how it might sound to people at home that aren't watching this game.
Yeah, it's been a tough watch. The 2 centre backs for Rangers, you look at them, you look at Deja and Nsiala. I think at times they've been all over the place. If they were up against better opposition, Rangers could find themselves 2 or 3 goals behind. Honestly, I think they've been very poor. Gassama is a good player, but he's not showed it. Yeah, he switched.
A wee bit of involvement in the second goal, though.
Aye, yeah, but you expect your players at that ilk, to be at it right from the off. It shouldn't take them 25-30 minutes to get going, certainly in front of this crowd at Ibrox. So I think he's been really disappointing. But you look at Curtis. Curtis has been at it right from the off. Maybe he's got a point to prove, yeah, but he's shown that desire, that hunger, that quality. And the balls he's played in for Miovski have been top draw. They're the two. Ryan's been talking about it. Curtis, Finlay, Curtis, sorry, and Miovski. They've been the standouts. In the middle of the park, Dowell's been okay, Rodwell, decent. But you're looking for a whole lot more, and I don't know, this is where I'm finding it hard to gauge. Is it because Annan have been pretty good so far, or is it maybe is it because of so many changes? Is it maybe there's 2 or 3 Rangers players off it a little bit? I'm not sure. Maybe you should ask Ryan the question.
Well, Ryan, that's my favourite football quote is that football's a game that's complicated by the presence of the opposition. The opposition for Rangers tonight is Annan, and they haven't just come and sat back, got behind the ball. They've kind of, I wouldn't say they've gone for it, but they've been what you would say on the front foot.
Yeah, no, they've done well. Annan, I think they've sat in their shape. You can see they've obviously, their game plan is to get it as wide as quickly as possible, and without even thinking about it, just get it in the box and ask questions of Rangers, and they've done that. They've had a couple of half chances. Maybe on another night one of their crosses would have come in and fell to somebody on an Annan jersey and they could get a strike at goal. I understand it from Rangers' point of view as well, because it can be difficult, as I said in commentary there. I've played against lesser teams, and sometimes it is difficult to get yourself up for games, but it's your job. You have to find a way, and too many of the Rangers players right now.
Well, you guys had it in for Jigga as soon as he went out to get his gloves.
Well, I mean,
the kickoff.
That's inexcusable. I don't get whether you forget your gloves or not. If you forget your gloves and you really want your gloves, you say to somebody in the dugout, "Can you go and get my gloves?" You cannot run back in and then come out 2 or 3 minutes later and be putting your. You're a professional footballer. I mean, come on.
I thought that was bizarre, because we're thinking that there was a problem with VAR, and then you look and then you see him. He just ambles out as well. Doesn't he sprint out?
Do you want me to tell you who was the happiest person in here? Danny Rowe. Because if I'm the manager, I'm 2-0 up. It's a cup game. Bottom line is we get through. But there's not one player on that. Well, take that back. Finlay Curtis and Miovski, sorry, can chap his door and say, "I think I done well. I think I deserve a chance." See, other than that, any of the players came and chapped my door the following week and said, "Gaffer, I think I should be playing," I'd be saying, "How do you think you done against Annan?" Because, as I said, we are professional footballers. You're playing for a massive football club. You have any opportunity you get. Now, you might only get one opportunity during that season, or 2 opportunities. It's your job. Your job is to prepare properly, to go out and do the best you possibly can for yourself and your team and your fans, to show everybody that you should be playing in that team. And 8 or 9 of them,
and it's
done nowhere near
that. It's a great point, because we've already says those Annan players this afternoon would have been finishing their work maybe early, because
they off, to be fair.
Well, I can assure you, I know where the Rangers players were. They were in a hotel this afternoon, in their bed, getting a couple of hours sleep. So this is why we are maybe, and I feel a little bit more critical, even though they're 2-0 up, because they should be able to come out here and ready to come out the traps and get at Annan, you know, and score a few goals so that you can get players, you know, make the changes. But I just thought they were going through the motions, and that we go back to, you know, at the start, these are just forgetting his gloves. I think that's a lack of preparation. You know, you should be, as soon as you've had the team talk, you've come back in from your warm-up, you are switched on 120%. So it just told me, I just get the feeling yous are not at it tonight, and that's the way it's looked for most part.
The bottom line for me is, and I'll use Gassama as an example.
I thought he started to warm up as the game went on.
100%, right, okay, they're 2-0 up against Annan. Now, you might not play well every single game, but again, you're representing Rangers Football Club, and his body language, there's thousands of people that have came here tonight to watch him that support this club, and his body language at times looks absolutely horrendous. The least you should do is, if you give the ball away, run and chase and get it back, not just stand and throw your arms up. And these are the things that, for me, are non-negotiable. I just think that you can't act like you're too big a club to act like that. And if you do it against Annan, trust me, he'll be doing it in training, and it then spills into other games which they can't afford to because they're in a title race just now. Now, I'm being hypercritical, but at the same time, you have a responsibility. I mean, you're playing for Rangers Football Club, and I think that's unacceptable. And again, different managers and foreign managers sometimes look at it differently. I'm saying it as a frustration of being an ex-football player. I would have whipped him off at half time, and I would
Maybe
let him, and he might, and I would let him know under no circumstances that is not acceptable.
Well, interestingly, I noted it down. I think I'm paraphrasing here, but you said if I were Danny Rule, I'd be going berserk. But I mean, that's not really his style.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying.
He'll be having a calm
chat with them,
no dramas.
Yeah,
chat with them. But
and I get
what will he be saying?
Get your finger at. That's what I in the nicest, in German, or the nicest possible way. He has to try and. I mean, do you say anything to them? Because again, as the Rangers manager, these are fringe players. You want to see what they've got about them. You want to see, can they seize their opportunity? Do you let them? Do you get in and just say, listen, lads, tactical wise, we could do this, this, and this? Do you want to see how they react themselves? I'm saying it from a Scottish point of view because I've grown up with Rangers and I know how big this club is. I know the responsibility. I've had friends that play for Rangers. I wish I had the opportunity to play for Rangers. I just think it's unacceptable. I genuinely do. I would expect, if I was a footballer, if I was him getting in that changing room, I would be coming across that pitch walking in at half time thinking, oh, the manager's going to go for me here.
Maybe thinking we're 2-0 up, we're through to the next round. What's the problem?
But there is it, because of these guys that are in the stadium at the moment. Ryan's speaking about it. They pay a lot of money. They travel a long way. They come here, so they expect to win. Of course they do. But winning is not enough. Whether you're you need a lot more than that. These guys need to be entertained, and they should be against. I mean, we're going up against. It's a part-time side. Guys that are working. Guys that haven't played for 2 weeks, probably haven't trained properly with the ball. They've probably done a couple of sessions of running. You know, I've been there, I've been part-time. I know kind of a little bit about it, but at this time of the year with the weather and that. So that's why it's you can look at the level of performance for Rangers. And it isn't good enough. And I think Danny Rowe, he won't be going probably berserk, but he'll not be happy. And sometimes when you give people the opportunity and they don't pay you back, then he might not say anything. But the thing is, you might not be at the club too much longer. But that's why I'm delighted that, because I've been shouting for Curtis to get his opportunity. He's a young guy, he's got a big future in the game. And he's been the shining light for me tonight. And Miovski. Miovski's a goal scorer, we know that.
Well, I can't remember which one of you two gentlemen said, I think it was actually you, Ryan, you said, you know, Rangers have been much better down the left. And then that changed when Curtis came from the left to the right. He's been even more dangerous.
And then they were much better down the right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, it's about seizing your opportunity and understanding the chance you have. And as we're saying there, I think he's been absolutely outstanding. I think everything that he's game understanding, because he realises that Annan are sitting sort of low and they're going to hold that sort of back line. So he's trying to run in behind. The one where he gets to the byline, and we're always taught as players, if you're inside 18-yard box at the byline, don't just smash it across the goal for the sake of it. Can you stand it up? And like any good striker, Miovski goes to the back post, simple header, bang, goal. So he's done everything right that he can do. I think him, and again, as Derek said, Miovski can go in there, whether you're a striker, you hold the ball up, anything else outside that, you score goals. So he's done his job. They're the only two I look at, and I think, yeah, you two have done what you've had to do tonight. The rest of them,
apart from Liam Kelly.
Liam Kelly, that's what I was just going to say, because he's not really much to do. The rest of them, again, I'm being hypercritical on this, but I'm being hypercritical for a reason of, you can have a bad game, that's fine, we all had bad games, I had plenty of them, but you still have a responsibility to run about and show these people who are paying money to watch you, and all the fans that are sitting at home watching you, that it means something to you to wear that jersey. And I don't think a few of them have done that.
There's been a lot of speculation recently about Finlay Curtis perhaps going out on loan. Well, his performance tonight, I'm trying to think whether that would want Danny Role to maybe put him out to get more game time to improve further, or he thinks he could have a part to play in this title race and charge.
Well, it's going to be difficult because you've got Ant-Man coming back from injury as well. Olsen obviously has come in, so his game time's going to be limited. But I'm just delighted for the young man, irrespective of who the opposition is. He's been out there and he's gave a performance in the first 45 minutes. So there is a little bit of speculation. Kilmarnock might be interested. I tell you what, if you're a Kilmarnock fan, you'll be licking your lips because you know what you're going to get from the young man.
The other teams might try and beat them to the punch.
Well, why not? If you're here tonight, even if you're even listening on the radio, you'll hear us waxing lyrical about him. Maybe on television, some managers, coaches will watch that, they'll take note and they'll say, we could have a little bit of that because he's been excellent, because he has been found himself in good positions down the right hand side, but it's his quality across. I mean, the one that I think the boy Hooper just gets a slight touch to, it's a wonderful ball. And the reason I'm saying it's a wonderful ball because it was the weight in the pass. It would have been absolute perfect for Miovski, just to slot home, but it was just Hooper just getting a toe to it, just to deflect it away. But he's been good, Curtis. So if he does go out and loan, they're going to get a good player, that's for sure.
Annan are already, some of the players already out on the pitch, chomping at the bit to get started again. Before I hand you back over to Thomas, Ryan, Annan have been impressive.
Yeah, they've done everything they probably set out to do. I think that their shape was good. As I said, they've obviously had a game plan of let's try and get it wide, get balls in the box, but the two big critical points are the two goals they lose, and that's why they find themselves down 2-0. But they have to just try and go out again in the second half and give the exact same effort, the exact same sort of game plan, and you never know, they might be able to nick a goal and try and get themselves back in the game.
Right, back over to Thomas. Thomas just checking the players have all got their gloves on.
Yeah, they all look ready to go. No changes for either side either at the break, so Danny Rowe asking the starting 11 to go again, and well, add further gloss to the scoreline. One person who definitely won't want to come off is Bojan Miovski. He's on a hat-trick, and that'll be his ambition in this second half, and he's been in good positions to add a third goal in that first half, but only some good defending has prevented him from doing so, in terms of getting on the end of a few passes, one from Dowell, one from Curtis as well. And now the referee has blown the whistle to start the second half, but as then he's brought it back because of encroachment from one of the Annan players who had gone into the Rangers half before the kick-off had actually been taken. So we'll go again. The second half is underway at Ibrox, live on Sports Sound on this Friday night. Scottish Cup fourth round, Rangers well in control, 2-0 in front against League 2 Annan Athletic, who are 7th in the fourth tier, but perhaps have ambitions for playoffs. They're not only 4 points back, and they've got a couple of games in hand, but they're 9 off bottom place Dumbarton. Of course, there's two teams in that division below them. Dumbarton and Edinburgh City have been deducted points. Edinburgh City 15 for going into administration, and Dumbarton 5 because they too were in financial difficulty last season, so it's a hangover penalty. But for that, Annan would be below them after a difficult start to the season, as the cross comes in towards Aidan Smith and he lays it to Dixon on the edge of the box, takes a good touch. Aidens is back to recover, and he's too quick for an Annan player and knocks it out. Do you know what, throwing on the far side.
I'm actually just thinking there to the first half when you're saying about Danilo, and that just comes from him there being slack, not holding the ball up. I mean, he's not really under much pressure and he gives it away.
Clipped into the Rangers box, header won by Aarons, and it drops the edge of the area, and Maxwell has a lash at it and it goes well into the Copland stand. But again, decent ambition, good ambition shown from Annan at the start of the second half, as they did at the start of the first half, and Rangers just a bit sluggish out the blocks, and that's an example of it, as Liam Kelly can't control that pass from Insiala. Giga's there to avert the danger, but he's under pressure from Muir and has to lash it up the line, headed back by Annan, and then Rodwell picks up the seconds. Now it's Dowell carrying forward towards halfway. Gassama's got room on this side, he's going into out with his run, and he's managed to get on the end of it in the box. Sliding challenge is expertly timed by Hooper, but he won't prevent the corner. Had to get the ball there or it was a penalty, but he did.
It's a brilliant tackle from Hooper. Has to get it absolutely spot on. He does. Good play from Dowell, you know, bursting forward there, going past 2 or 3 players, and I tell you what, it's good weight in the pass as well. But again, Gassama could have been a little bit braver, probably, but no, good defender from Annan.
Here's Rodwell from the short corner, onto the right foot, low flighted cross, flicked header, it's in! Brilliant header from Kieran Dowell, and Rangers go 3 in front. Only 2.5 minutes into the second half, and they are cruising through to the 5th round of the Scottish Cup. Rangers 3, Annan Athletic 0.
I was just about to say, if that hadn't gone into the back of the net, I don't think it was a good ball in. I just think it's a brilliant header from Dowell. You know, I thought he should have got more pace on it, even more curl, a little bit more height. But it's a difficult one, and Dowell has to kind of stoop down a little bit, and he just directs it away from the keeper into that top right-hand corner. So a good goal from Dowell, and yeah, that's certainly it. It's game, set and match. But it's not again been a great start to the second half. You look at Insala, been slack, Danilo slack as well. So it's just the quality in the final third, and that's what you'd expect Rangers would have, and that's been the difference so far.
It is Kieran Dowell's first goal of the season on his 7th appearance, and only his 3rd goal for Rangers. And his first for a couple of years. Scored against Motherwell and Livingston back in 2023. It was Michael Beale who brought him in. So a long time without a Rangers goal. Hasn't played much in the intervening period, in fairness. Well, that was a really good header, which left Albinson rooted.
Thomas, that's what I was going to ask Ryan. Did they mean it? Did you think because he's stooping down? I think is he just trying to help on? But
no, I think
he's going for goal.
I think he did mean it.
Yeah.
I think, but again, go back to it. Gassama makes a great run from outside to inside, in behind Annan, asks a question, then they obviously get the corner.
Here come Rangers. Curtis on the right hand side, inside ball for Aarons to try and step onto, but it's a good interception by Watson. Smith, and 1-2, and that's neat play from Aidan Smith and Paul Smith, and it's out to the far side, and then Kilsby lashes it forward with the left foot. Excellent touch from Muir, holding off Giga as he brought that down, and then he tries to turn him, but good nudge from Giga, and he wins it back, gives it to Magoma. Magoma's got green grass in front of him, drives forwards, gives it to Gassama. He's in a one-on-one situation with Ryan Muir. He comes inside, flights it in. Miofsky made the back post run. It's cleared before it gets to him. Sent back to Dowell. Rodwell, and then Aarons shuffles forwards. Dowell carries across to the far side. Curtis, sliding challenge is good from Kilsby, and then he smashes it up the line, and I'll go out for a Rangers throw-in.
Again, that was better from Gassama, trying to go in behind again. It shouldn't take him to the second half to get him. It's as if I've got a personal vendetta against him here, but he shouldn't take him to the second half to get himself going. But again, what Derek's saying, I don't think Joe Rothwell's actually meant to cross that ball in as low as what he did, but it's a fantastic header from Kieran Dowell to get the 3rd goal. And Rangers now, I think, we'll be looking at maybe bringing boys on, trying to just sort of maybe up the tempo and try and get that 4th and 5th goal.
Miofsky goes after this, but Kilsby wins it and turns back to his goalkeeper Albinson, who plays it out first time straight out for a throw-in. What
Annan can do is let it completely buckle here, because they've now, and we've all been there, and Derek, where you look at that screen and that clock and you think, oh my God, there's 40 minutes to go here.
I do think they've had a little bit of a telling off, the Rangers players, a little bit more intensity in their game from what I've seen in the first half. So you can only see going one way, and that's wave after wave of attacking. But you've got to worry about Annan. But we keep speaking about it, the lack of game time, the lack of training. The guys have been working this afternoon. That nervous energy, it takes its toll. So they are going to start to kind of fade away after probably the hour mark, and if Rangers make changes, you can only see more goals here tonight.
Annan managed to get a foot on the ball, but give away the throw-in on the far side. Annan have won here in their history, incidentally, 2013 2-1 win at Ibrox when Rangers were in the 3rd division, managed by Ali McCoist.
He was hopeless.
I was going to say he'll thank you for that, won't he? Bringing that up.
Well, and how is Ali McCoy? He seems to be doing all right for himself.
I've not heard much from him. It's played off Aarons, out for an Annan throw-in, and they're certainly not giving up the fight. 7 minutes into the second half, Annan Athletic 3-0 down. The League Two sides. Throw-in to Aidan Smith, back to Kilsby. Good challenge from Curtis, forces it backwards, but Annan cling on to the ball. It's Hooper, all the way back to Albinson. Albinson, long with the right boot, up towards Muir, flicked on, but it bounces in front of Magoma, and he's got time to take a touch, and then he drives away from Maxwell with ease, and then Muir's come across to try and intervene, but he's gone past three of them, Magoma, and he's kept it in on this near side. Superb from Jaden Magoma, picks out Danilo, edge of the box, onto the right foot. It's Danilo with a curling effort, flashes over the top of the crossbar. 3-0 it remains.
That was brilliant from Magoma down this left hand side. I think he gets past 3-4 players. Looks as if the ball's going to go out of play, but he somehow just keeps it in, just feeds it into Danilo. And as I say, I think he's been anonymous for long periods in this game, but he finds a little pocket of space, gets on the half turn, and he's trying to find that top left hand corner, and doesn't quite get the execution right, but certainly better from Rangers.
Danny Rowe has made such an impact since taking over at Rangers. Only domestic defeats against Hearts at Tynecastle in that League Cup semi-final in extra time to Celtic. Big games in fairness, although the latter of those he was barely in the door. Recruitment's coming in, and signings coming in, I should say, and looking to try and kick on even further, especially in the attacking areas in the second half of the season, because you feel he's stabilised the defence. They've certainly started keeping more clean sheets, 8 in his 19 games compared to 4 in 17 under Russell Martin. Here they come, Rodwell gives it out to Curtis, and he goes for distance on it, flashes just by the far post. Really good effort from Finlay Curtis, and his performance, you feel, probably deserves a goal. Well, that one didn't go in.
Yeah, he does deserve a goal. He's been absolutely outstanding, and I would imagine the Rangers phone will be ringing off the hook tomorrow. I'd imagine if he is going to go out on loan, as we were speaking about at half time, I'd imagine within the next week he'll be away somewhere. He's been absolutely outstanding.
Double change coming for Rangers. Rabi Matondo is coming on, and Jaden Magoma, who's only him and Gassama were the only two to start the win up to Tawdry, so he's withdrawn now for a rest. And Zebedee Lawson, the forward player, is coming on. As I said, 17-year-old Englishman, makes his Rangers debut, signed from Brighton youth ranks, came with a pretty good reputation from down there. And Gassama, the other player to start the last game, is also coming off. Matondo on for just his second appearance since returning from his injury, as Lawson trots onto the field. So Danny Rowe already using the bench. He's got a strong bench with some of the frontliners in there. Jack Butland isn't on the bench, nor is Raskan, but Chermiti's on there, Suter, Moore, Chukwuani, the new signing from Sturm Graz, Asgard, Diamonde. So reinforcements, not that they need them. 3-0 up after 55.5 minutes, but here come Annan. Aidan Smith down the left hand side, he's got two in front of him, and he's gone between, tried to go between Lawson and Aarons, but he loses the ball. Giga now flicks in front of himself with the studs, and it's passed forwards, and now Rangers sneak play in midfield, and Dowell strides forward and he stabs it in behind. Miofsky looked offside. Flag will stay down for now as he picks it up on the corner of the area. Bojan Miofsky, now the flag goes up. Did look offside first viewing from here.
Yeah, it was clearly offside. You can see it, and again, it's one of them that annoys you, the linesman lets the play go on for a little bit, but it's good that Danny Rowe has made a few changes. Lawson gets an opportunity, Matondo as well, so he's going, there you go, you've got enough time, go and make an impact, show us what you're all about.
I just wonder if he would have went Chermiti and
I bet you Chermiti's
Miofsky up front.
I bet he's champing at the bit.
Oh.
He must be desperate to go on, and as a manager I'd be wanting to get him on. You want to get your forward players, your strikers scoring goals. This is a great opportunity tonight, so why not?
Even just putting the two of them up front just to see how they do together, if it was ever going to be needed in one of the league games going into the second half of the season. If you're chasing a game, can you get the two of them up front just to see how they work together, how they play off each other.
Danilo into Matondo, good feet from Matondo to keep hold of that ball. His path forward is blocked, Rodwell picks up and then it gives it to Finlay Curtis, who appears to have shifted to left back after that double change, which is interesting, as Giga controls and carries forward.
I know you were trying to get my attention there when I was speaking. Yeah, I don't quite understand that. You know, the young man getting in there because he's been so effective so far in this game. And I get what Ryan's saying. You know, get the two strikers on. You know, and you've got somebody like Curtis. You know, that can produce the ammunition. You know, why not? You know, play him that forward area. I thought he's been excellent, but it just shows you he's not spitting a dummy. He's listening to the manager. He's taking on an instruction. It doesn't matter where he's going to play. He'll still give you that quality. But it's kind of for me. You know, I don't like to see him there. You know, I think he's played already once. Was it this season or last year? I'm not sure. And he didn't have the best of games, but clearly he can play in that position. But it's not his strongest.
No, he's having a word with the coaches now as the changes made by Annan. Josh Dixon is coming off, and Tommy Goss, who's a bit of an Annan hero, comes on. He's just rejoined the club from a loan spell at League One East Fife, but he's scored 58 goals in 136 appearances for them, and the fans' favourite down at Galabank. They actually paid for him to have a knee operation in tail end of 2024. The crowd funded it, and he's back and makes the first appearance of his return up front for Annan as they trail Rangers by 3-0. And that's a header backwards by Rangers. Inciala manages to clear it though. Danilo in his own half gives it to the far side, Lawson, and then it's Lawson inside ball, and then he tried to go on the outside with his run, but the pass doesn't find him. Annan win it. Maxwell, Keith Watson, part of Peter Houston's side that won the cup with Dundee United back in 2010. As Rangers win it in their own half, threaded into Danilo. He crosses halfway and he's got Matondo on this near side now. Matondo, who we know has got pace, he comes on the inside on the right foot and he winds it up, and it's wide. Worth a goal from Rabi Matondo. The space opened up for him. I can't find the target. 3-0.
Yeah, it's good play from him. I think again, Finlay Curtis makes that run on the outside to sort of drag the Annan defender away. Matondo comes inside, and again we can see what he's trying to do is just get inside, get that half a yard and try and bend it in the top corner.
It's the first of a brilliant weekend ahead in the Scottish Cup, live on the BBC, across Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland, across the telly and the website as well, bbc.co.uk/sports/Scotland. And keep right across the games. And here come Annan down the left of the Rangers right hand side. Annan's left, Paul Smith, but he loses it. It's forward to Zebedee Lawson. He gallops forwards, and then he is caught, stayed in his feet, tried to continue and then loses it, so gets the free kick after the advantage was played. Rodwell gives it to Curtis, the now left back. Now Matondo inside ball to Rodwell, who steps into the game. Out to Curtis on the touchline, back to Matondo rolls it casually to Nasser Giga to Aarons with a pass was intended to find Danilo in behind, but it was cut out. Now Rodwell to Inciala to Curtis with a bit of room now, and he plays the inside ball from Matondo, edge of the box, and Matondo goes down, and the player manager Willie Gibson is protesting furiously that he never touched Rabi Matondo, but the referee has blown the whistle. Free kick right on the edge of the box on this near side.
Yeah, it's good play from Curtis. Lovely little way to pass into Matondo, and as a foul, Gibson just clips him. I'm just wondering, looking at young Curtis, could Matondo not have went and played left back, more experienced player? And I'm just thinking, young boys Curtis had a great first half. Why not just keep him there? But
you would just leave him where he is, wouldn't you? And you would
I would, and put obviously he wants to give Matondo minutes, but can let the two of them, play there? Maybe Matondo just slightly deeper. They're dominating the ball, but
well, what you would say is they've at least got two left backs in the building now with Tour Romans signing. He's not quite fit yet, but having one proper left back was a bit of an oversight from the summer recruitment. Jaden Magoma, just a teenager as well. Here's Rodwell to deliver on the right foot, flashes into the near post. It's not a great one, and it's actually turned behind by Matondo, so it'll be a goal kicked to Annan. Rangers 3, Annan 0.
Yeah, they were always inviting that, Annan. You know, didn't have a player marking the space. You know, you could see like Rodwell fancied it, you know, curling it low to that near post, right hand post, but I think it was Hooper again. He's been pretty good tonight, you know, getting a foot in, and again he gets across.
Header from Gosson, and then it's lashed out on the far side by Clinton and Ciala. Yeah, some really good ties tomorrow. Finland Hibs will be a cracker. Neil Lennon up against his old club. Rangers going to make a change. Tilo Asgard is coming on, as is Toki Chukwuani. He's going to make his Rangers debut as Kieran Dowell is removed for Tilo Asgard, and he gets a warm reception here at Ibrox. Played pretty well, Kieran Dowell, and of course scored the third goal with a fine header. Oh, good shift from him. Tilo Asgard is on. He's a man in good goal scoring form, 3 in his last 5, including against Aberdeen at Pittodrie. And Joe Rodwell is going to come off, and Toki Chukwuani is coming on, the 3 million or so signing from Sturm Graz. I've actually watched him play Rangers out in Austria, and he was really good in that game, albeit Rangers were not great. And he played as well at Celtic Park in the Europa League and left one on Callum McGregor and got sent off, so that'll endear him to the Rangers fans.
Yeah, I did see that, a little bit naughty, but yeah, he looks a bit of a physical specimen, but just interesting to see how he goes about his business this last period of the game. You know, the game's won, you know, but he'll be wanting to get on the ball, show what he's all about.
Yeah, especially probably breaks for Paul Smith here. That's blocked by Nsiala. Spins for Matondo, plays it forward. Asgard's onto it, gives it to Danilo. Danilo, and a big switch from Miovski, who's on his bike, and Miovski's going to get here. He's wide of the box, but he's sprung in behind the Annan defence. They're back in numbers now. Leaves it for Lawson. Lawson, the bright orange boots, works it onto the left foot and strikes for goal. Blocked by Hooper and away for a throw in on the far side. But yeah, Chukwuani is. He's a signing they would have been looking to make anyway, but particularly with Conor Varden, the blow of losing him for 8 weeks or so. Here's Aarons. Get your thoughts on that, Derek, in a moment as Rangers come forward here. Curtis chips one into the box, and it's lashed up and away by Watson. Bounces on the turf as Goss challenges for it. And Ciala, and now it's with Aarons out to Lawson. Lawson back to Ciala and Giga, but yeah, Derek,
he's a big miss, Conor Barron. You know, everybody talks about his endeavour, you know, his work rate, but he was playing with real quality.
Miovski on the edge of the box just as it had taken off him.
So it was a big blow, you know, and he picked up that injury, you know, and it was late on. It didn't seem as if it was a badging, you know, but then we find out, you know, has a scan and he's out for 3 months, so it is a blow. So I think they're always going to strengthen in that department anyway, you know, they're always talking about a 6, but I think with Conor, I think you've got to let him off the leash, and Danny Rowe done that, you know, and instead of playing a specific role, you know, just sitting in front of a back 4, you know, you've got to let him with that energy, that drive and that quality, let him get about the park, and he's really infectious when he does that.
Well, as well, I know Nico Raskin, don't get Billy Dodd started on Nico Raskin playing as a 6, but I think that's where Raskin fancies himself, but I think Chukwuani would be the one to play in there. Raskin further forward with Diamonde. It's a good Rangers midfield as Curtis comes down the left. Sliding challenge is a good one. Rangers throw in. Rangers 3, Annan Athletic 0, live on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland. Extra online on digital. And we've played 66 minutes, and 2 from Miovski in the first half, 1 from Dowell in the second, has Rangers heading for the 5th round of the Scottish Cup. Max Aarons dribbles forward, gives it to Zebedee Lawson, the teenager. Rangers debut for him. And as for Chukwuani, who strokes it to Curtis, now Matondo on the outside, flashes across the near post. Albertson gets a glove on it, breaks the penalty spot, and then it's deflected off Lawson as it was cleared and almost went in, but the referee's whistle had gone. So Matondo was caught late, so it's going to come back for the Rangers free kick.
Yeah, good play again down the side. Great ball in as well. But I think Rangers have been loads better since they've made the substitutions. And again, when you break it all down, Danny Rowe will be more than happy. The fact that they've got through, they've got 3 goals just now anyway, and they're totally dominating the game now, which you would expect. But it'll end up being a good night's work for Rangers. But I can guarantee you he won't forget some of the performances from some of the players as well.
Taylor Osgaard is going to take this free kick from the near side. The referee Duncan Nicholson is issuing some instructions. Miofsky still hunting that hat-trick. He's not had a sniff really in the second half of netting his 3rd goal. He had a couple where he made the perfect run. Rangers just couldn't quite find him. Thanks to some good Annan defending as well, it must be said.
I think he is just that old school kind of striker, isn't he? Really, he just kind of floats about. He 1 and 2 touch holds it up, but deadly at finishing.
Here's Asgard, smashes it right into the near post, and the header came in from Matondo into the side netting, but he's wide of the goal when it hits him, and that's a couple that have gone low near post, and it's not really what Rangers are looking for.
Yeah, it's as if Annan are inviting that type of ball. You know, they leave the gap there. As if they're saying, go and put it there, you know, but we're still going to defend it. Again, just start hitting it with that, whipping it low, and I think it was that Danilo just trying to get across, but he's come more into the game, Danilo, and he's one of the players. I mean, Ryan's touching on it. Yeah, Rangers they're cruising at the moment, but you're still kind of disappointed in a lot of the players in terms of their output. You know, you're expecting, you know, a certain level that you expect them to play at, and I think they've underperformed at times for large periods. People might think that's harsh, but to me that's the reality.
I think you'd expect them to be more assured than what they were, especially in the first half. An assured performance where they dominate the ball, they're stronger than Annan, they don't let Annan players, you know, pace them down the line. I mean, that really shouldn't happen, and I think in the first half there was too much in it. It's assured now, but the way, I think when they break the game down and they look at it, and especially the manager and his coaching staff, it's very well and good doing that when you're 2-3-0 up. I think at the start of the game they should have done that a lot better.
Foul on Danilo as Chukwueze got in there and got a little pass away.
And Thomas, that's why we're speaking about that amount of changes, because Rangers have got that kind of little bit of aura back, you know, that level of performance, and when you make that amount of changes, you know, and we kind of half expected that to happen tonight, you know, and that's how it becomes a little bit disappointing, if that makes sense. But yeah, but Ryan's absolutely right. They're starting to show what they're all about now, but you're seeing more. You've got Ashgard on, you've got Chukwueze has come into it, you know. I'd like to see Sharmiti on, because I think there's goals here, but it's more like Rangers now.
Here's Lawson, jinks into the box, too far in front of himself though, and Gibson plays it out for a Rangers throw-in line with the edge of the box on the far side. We're into the final 20 minutes. Mikey Moore is now coming on for Rangers. There's going to be a change for Annan as well. Paul Smith, the former Ayr United man, is withdrawn, and Paul McGowan is going to come on. He was a League Cup winner, of course. As here comes Danilo, troopsing off as Mikey Moore comes on, and that's certainly not what the Annan defenders will want to see after putting in a shift for 70 minutes. Is Mikey Moore coming on with the trickery and the speed he has. Paul McGowan on. It's good to see him still playing at 38. Did a really nice interview in the Herald recently about his time as a footballer, and talking about his problems with gambling and alcohol as well, and said he's regretted a lot of things he's done over the course of a career. Felt he's not made the most of the talent he has, but still had some really good moments, not to mention that League Cup win I mentioned.
Can you stop mentioning that, please, because that was against me.
Sorry, that's about the 4th time I've mentioned it. He was man of the match in the final as well, I think, for St Mirren that day.
I scored 2 that day as well.
Yeah,
Actually got man of the match.
And beloved.
He was a hell of a player, and he still is. I mean, to be doing that at 38 and still playing and still having the desire to play, and I mean, it's a good story for any young player coming through, when he's actually is open and honest about talking about the regrets he has and maybe not fulfilling his potential because when Gowser was at it, when he was at St Mirren, I was at Hearts. He was a top player and a very hard player to play against.
Obviously came through at Celtic and played a few games there, included in the UEFA Cup, Europa League, scored against Rapid Vienna, so certainly had talent, and he had a very good career. He's still going in League Two. As here's Finlay Curtis, knocks it to Giga, who carries it forward. 18 minutes left plus stoppages, and Rangers 3-0 up against Annan Athletic. Here's Lawson into the feet of Asgard on the edge of the box, tries to get turned but is robbed of possession. Chukwueze finds Moore. Now it's Matondo in the box, not got much room to work with from the inside, tries to go on the outside, goes down, and penalty given. Penalty. Fast feet from Matondo, drew the challenge from Hooper, and dangled a leg, and Duncan Nicholson points to the spot. And there's only one person who's going to take this, surely. Bojan Miovski's asking the question, he's taking the ball.
It looked, I don't know, it looked a bit soft to me. I mean, he made a meal of it, but you says there, Thomas, he dangled a leg.
He's done the right thing, hasn't he? I think he's realised that he's got two players coming to him. He's then just knocked it down the line, just inviting that challenge to come in, and as soon as he sees it, and then I actually like the fact that Asgard picked up the ball there as if he was going to take it. Miovski's like, nope. Yeah, no chance.
Bojan Miovski, he's on a hat-trick. Last Rangers player to score a hat-trick was at this stage of the competition a year ago. It was Cyril Dessers against Fraserburgh. And Bojan Miovski looking to emulate previous Rangers number 9 here with a hat-trick in the Scottish Cup. The referee just making sure there's no encroachment at the moment from the Annan players. So Rangers 3-0 up, Bojan Miovski on a hat-trick. Here he comes, left-footed, scores! And it is a first Rangers hat-trick for Bojan Miovski. A morale-boosting night for him. Rangers cruising. It's Rangers 4, Annan 0.
Yeah, it's a lovely penalty. I mean, Ryan used the word assured. That was very assured. You could just sense it was going into the back of the net. You sends the keeper the wrong way, down to the keeper's left-hand side. So Miovski, it's brilliant when you get your strikers scoring goals. You want that, full of confidence. And that's why I've been crying out for Sharmiti, to get a little bit of game time, because we've got roughly about 15 minutes plus added on time. Get him on.
That's what I was just going to say. What I would do now is just whip him straight off, give him a great round of applause, done your job, and get Sharmiti on.
Yeah.
Because bottom line is we're in a title race here now as well. This aside, and you need your strikers scoring goals, because we know how pivotal and how big that's going to be in the run-in to the end of the season.
Yeah, you just want your strikers feeling good about themselves. So Miovski, he's been excellent tonight. He's got his 3 goals, so you would be thinking Sharmiti would come on, but we don't know. Is he carrying a little bit of knock? Does he need that rest? But players, the players that I've played with in the past, strikers, they want to be on that part. They want to be scoring goals. I don't know, you want a win bonus as well for goals?
Goal bonus, win bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. Goal bonus.
If my number went up on that board I was kidding on, I was just looking the opposite direction. But I mean, I like Miovski. I like the fact that there's no airs and graces about what he does. When it comes into him, he tries to hold it up, he tries to get it wide, he gets himself in the box, and his 3 finishes tonight have been top class. I mean, obviously he'd been out the team and then he came in. The finish he had at Kilmarnock I thought was outstanding. So you can see that there's a goal scorer in there. We obviously know what he did at Aberdeen, and hopefully for the Rangers fans and for Rangers, the fact that he's now maybe taking a little time to settle in, but there's no doubt that he can score you goals.
Well, I think his confidence took an absolute hammer in its time in Girona, short though it was. The manager didn't really fancy him, and he went in and then the manager was quickly sacked and the new manager didn't fancy him. I think his confidence was really hit, and then comes into a Rangers team that was also struggling.
So. It's like anything else. I think especially for strikers, as Derek's saying there, when strikers feel good about themselves and they're scoring goals, they fashion goals out of nothing. And I think it goes the same the other way. When they're low in confidence, they can have a gilt edge opportunity and they can miss it just because of that confidence situation.
Well, they played in an Aberdeen team that didn't create loads of chances and still hit 20 goals for the season. As It's intercepted by Kilsby, and Annan just in damage limitation mode, you suspect. They've played pretty well in patches, but just not had the quality up one end and been cut apart a couple of times. The other, as Curtis swings one in, it's away by Annan, and it's now Max Aarons driving it back. Chukwuani back to Aarons. Aarons not in a rush, gives it now to Matondo, is in central midfield position, goes lateral and goes back, and it's Curtis who's the only player out
They
wide.
need to keep shifting at Rangers, because they're not just tired physically, you know, mentally they'll start to be start to fade a little bit as well. Annan, you know, it's been a hard night for them. They've not had a lot of the ball, and they're just chasing shadows at the moment. So Rangers try to work a little avenue, a little bit of space so they can get a cross or a shot off, but you just think that they're going to switch off. There's a lovely little run there.
Matondo for Curtis, brilliant cross, that's just over both Lawson and Miofsky. Just went over the heads as they leapt in the 6-yard box. It's Asgard on the other side now. Chukwuani, lovely pass into the box, and it's Miofsky out his feet, and then a shot from distance is from Lawson, and it's saved pretty comfortably by Albinson. Rangers 4, Annan 0, 12 minutes left.
Yeah, it's another lovely ball, isn't it, from Curtis? You know, just going the overlap there, and you know, when he gets it, I think that's real quality. And I'm just thinking, if a Sharmiti's there, you know, it's food and drink. You know, it's perfect. They're just curling away from a goalkeeper, central, 6 yards out. It's begging, you know, for somebody to go and head that.
Well, it's Goss here, and he goes round Aarons, and then I think he just slipped there. Tommy Goss, challenge has gone in actually. It's a throw in on the far side. Annan are going to make a change, and it is Miles Gaffney, a striker, who's going to come on. And there's going to be 2 changes actually. There's also going to be a debut for Timam Scott, a Queen's Park loanee, whose signing was only announced today. So he's coming on for Annan for the last few minutes. Max Kilsby is one who's going to come off. He's put in a good shift, and Charlie Maxwell is the other player to make way. So Miles Gaffney, I don't know if you'll remember him from his time at Accies, Derek. He was there for...
You put me in the spot and I can't remember him.
I was going to say that means no.
Nah.
Just know you're a regular there at one stage.
Not so much.
Not
now.
so
They're
much
up,
now,
they're
no.
up in Cumbernauld.
No, exactly. Yeah,
It'll be Larkhall Thistle for me tomorrow. 1/2 against Mabel.
Well, good. Yeah, some cracking games up and down the country. Yeah, Aki's. Well, that's a club that's been through the mill in recent times. As it's flicked on towards goal by Annan as the free kick was from deep, and Goss couldn't turn that goalwards, and Liam Kelly gets on with a goal kick quickly. Coming up to the final 10 minutes. Rangers 4, Annan 0. Miofsky hat-trick, and Dowell with the other one. Matondo curls one into the open space in midfield, and Asgard controls. Taylor Asgard's another player who you wouldn't say is setting the header alight, but has certainly improved under the management of Danny Rule as Matondo controls. And
his goal was lovely against Aberdeen. You know, it's well worked. You're talking about the set piece coach coming in, well worked, you know, and just coming off a defender, and a beautiful little finish, you know, just sliding it off his foot into the back of the net.
Late one there on Mikey Moore, but advantage is being played, and Lawson comes inside, gives it to Moore. Poor touch from Moore, but he's got space and time to regather. Curtis now. Curtis shifts it onto the right foot into Matondo on the edge of the box, returns it to Curtis, doesn't have the angle to shoot. Now it's Aarons, he goes on the outside, driving for the byline. Good recovery from Hooper to get across and block the path for the cross.
Danny Rowe will be pleased the fact that every single sub that he's brought on's up the game. So he has, and I know obviously Annan are tiring. They'll be tiring physically, as Derek said. They'll be tiring mentally as well. But I think the substitution that he's made, Matondo, when he's come on, he's looked bright. He's been getting at defenders. Mikey Moore's been busy when he's came on as well. Asgard, I was actually looking forward to seeing him, because I think there is a really good player in there, and you hope that he gets better the more games he has. But Rangers obviously in total cruise control now.
Matondo, inside ball for Moore, cut back and then cleared, and it's spinning towards the corner flag. Moore keeps it in, and the flag has gone up on the far side, so It will be a free kick to Annan Athletic, who have worked their socks off at Ibrox this evening, but as was widely expected, been just outclassed really. Rangers were pretty sloppy in the opening half hour despite going a goal up, especially defensively. Switched off quite a few times, but after the second went in, from there they've been in pretty much complete control. And with 8 minutes left, just a case of getting to the end of this game without any injuries or any incidents.
Yeah, I think most of the fans as well, I think they've seen enough. Quite a few of them making their way. It is a cold night. Their team have won pretty comfortably. And yeah, we could have been, maybe me and Ryan, maybe a little bit overcritical, but that's what we're here for. And I just think that first half hour you're talking about, Thomas, I don't think it was good enough. I don't think the start, I think the body language, there was a few things that so it's a learning curve for some of these players here.
Searing pace from Matondo, and it takes a brilliant challenge to prevent him right as he was just on the threshold of the penalty area.
It's a centre forward at centre back now.
Yeah,
a different class.
Muir, yeah, he's slotted in there, and then Chukwuani has been caught by Tommy Goss.
And that's a great story you're telling us about Goss, about the fans chipping in, you know, for an operation. That's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. These community clubs, it's switch from Moore, controls, and goes back to Curtis with a pass. Then Moore crosses from deep. It's a fairly flat one, and it's headed up and away by Willie Gibson. Chukwuani, he nudges that to Moore. Moore clips into the box. Asgard's run beyond, controls it on the thigh, turns to face the goalkeeper, tries to go round him. There's defenders back, strike away, blocked by the keeper. Moore on the edge of the box onto the right foot, can't get the strike away, gives it to Aarons. Now it's Lawson who runs into Smith. That didn't look like a free kick to me, as Willie Gibson takes it up the far side.
It's brilliant defending from Annan. You know, they're dead on their feet, but they're still throwing themselves at it. A lovely little run from Asgard. Timed it absolutely spot on, but they've got bodies back in there, getting the blocks in. Just love to see it. You know, obviously, they're not winning it. They're out of the competition, but still prepared to give absolutely everything.
Throw in down on this near side to Rangers, who are going to be in the draw on Sunday night for round 5. Our Scottish Cup coverage across the BBC, concluding with live commentary of Auchinleck Talbot against Celtic at Rugby Park on Sunday, the half-5 kickoff. It'll be a brilliant occasion, albeit one that's been lessened slightly by the forced move from Beechwood to Rugby Park.
Absolutely, that is a big disappointment. You know, that game, you know, it was it the police that intervened. You know, that game should have been played at Auchinleck, you know, for the fans. I think it just dilutes it, you know, and lessens the chance of Auchinleck, you know, trying to create an upset. You know, it was difficult enough, you know, going up against Celtic, but you want to be playing at home, don't you?
By the way, they deserve that. The Village deserves it as well. That's obviously down my neck of the woods. And do you know one thing that they can't? That pitch is unbelievable. Always good. It's like an absolute bowling green. But I mean, this is where I think that the SFA and things like that, they just kill the game, because that's what makes the cup so amazing. Imagine Celtic going down to Beechwood.
Yeah, well, I think to be fair, I think it was the police and the council just concerns about the ability of the ground to hold. You know, they did host Hearts there a couple of years ago, but decisions been made, and I'll have to just get on with it. I was there.
Was there an issue there about anything? You know,
I just think they felt that the ground couldn't cope with the, you know, probably obviously the massive Celtic support that would come down and the rest of it. There's we don't know the exact reasons, but it was a determination that it wasn't suitable, and I think most people will, as you guys have said, have their own opinions on that, but that's the decision that's been made. As Asgard lines up this free kick after Moore was fouled, and he goes from distance. Oh, it's a beauty! Oh, what a strike from Tello Asgard. 25-30 yards out, it's fairly central, no angle to work with, and he stuck it right in the top corner. An absolute perler. 5-0.
That is an unbelievable free kick. Literally what I was just saying was I think there is a really good player in there, and I was looking forward to seeing him. That, I'm telling you right now, you know that as well, Derek, that is what a skill that is, to be able to do that.
I was going to actually ask you, Ryan, you know, because you look at Asgard, He's got everything you look for. He's got quick feet, he's pacey, he's strong, and then you're talking about ability. You know, he's a good 30 yards out. The keeper doesn't even move because the pace, but the placement, it's right up in that top right-hand corner. The keeper doesn't even move.
Nah, you could put 2 or 3 goalkeepers in there.
Absolutely, and it's the placement, but it's the pace on the ball. That was absolutely top draw, and you can see, they're 4-0 up, they're cruising, but that was a special moment, absolutely top draw.
Yeah, that was an absolute beauty from Tello Asgard, and he's really hitting a bit of form for Rangers now. It's 4 in his last 6 appearances. There's a fine finish at Pittodrie as well, belted in beyond Mitov as Annan still come forward with Smith down this left-hand side and nicked a corner.
And you know, Thomas, with quite a few of the supporters will just be getting into their cars at the moment. I tell you what, guys, he's missed a hell of a goal.
Yeah,
that was a beauty.
Well,
unbelievable.
Get back, Sports Scene tonight, BBC One, 11:35, so he can catch it still. It's worth catching.
It was the sheer pace here that I loved. You know, it wasn't kind of just clipped.
Corner comes in from Annan, and the goalkeeper doesn't come, and it's a header from Smith on. He should have done better there. It wasn't heading for the target. It's blocked anyway, and now it's out to the far side again. Smith's going to try and send it back in. He's actually going to take on Max Ahrens. Gets onto the right foot, lays it to the edge of the box. It's Hooper with a left-footed strike. It's into the side netting. Half the ground thought that was in.
I thought it was in.
I think Aidan Smith's obviously the header first. He's hit it with the wrong side of his head, and then Hooper. Is it Hooper? I think that has the shot there.
He's been good tonight.
He's been brilliant as a defender, wasn't he? Actually thinking he was going to come up there and slew one in the top corner. But I mean, great chance, great shot, and I think everybody in this side of the stadium thought it was a goal.
Matondo's low ball is a good one. Miofsky was begging for it in the back post, but the goalkeeper intervenes.
I'm not quite sure what Smith was trying to do. Was he?
I don't think he was expecting it to come through the bodies.
That's what it kind of looked like.
Yeah.
Probably one of them, to be fair as well. He's probably thinking, I'm scoring here, and you get that excited, I'm scoring at Ibrox, and then you end up hitting off the wrong side of your head.
It's Tim Am plays it in the channel for Goss to chase, but Nsiala gets there comfortably, and Chukwuani's looked tidy. He'll have far sterner tests to come, and then coming on when you're already in control. But
by the way, Annan have done great in the sense, I know they're 5-0 down, but they've done their club proud and everything. But it just shows you the difference in levels of Miofsky gets that chance, bang, goal, and it just shows you the levels of that one chance or 2 chances he has in the first half, and he takes both of them.
Here's Moore. A little reverse ball. Miofsky controls it in the edge of the box. Matondo wanting him to leave it because he'd made the run beyond. It's clipped to the back post and it's left and goes by for a goal kick. Yeah, I just think as well, Annan, Moore was driving for the box and he was fouled for that free kick, and you're probably thinking that's a decent foul because he's probably going to get a shot away, and then Asgard steps up and puts it in the top corner. Well,
I mean, from 30 yards you're thinking it's got to be a really good shot here and a really good free kick to even get it on target. And I mean, as Derek says, usually with these sort of free kicks it has to be sort of less pace on it to get it up, to get it back down, but he's absolutely rattled that. He's rattled it up in the air. However he's managed to do it, it's came straight back down. I mean, it's probably been a foot over the bar and he's put it right in the top corner.
Here's the full-time whistle. It's been routine for Rangers in the Scottish Cup 4th round at Ibrox. Far too good and strong for League 2 Annan Athletic, as we expected. A hat-trick for Bojan Miofsky, one from the penalty spot, a good header as well in there from Kieran Dowell after the break, and an absolute beauty of a free kick from Tello Asgard to round it off. It may have started in a bit of a tepid fashion from a Rangers point of view, especially defensively, as Annan started brightly, but as soon as Rangers got their noses in front, especially in that second half, they just motored away into the 5th rounds of the Scottish Cup with plenty to spare. Full time at Ibrox, it finished Rangers 5.